Today, I would like to talk to you about challenges and impatience. And I was doing some work today and I was waiting for somebody else to get back to me so I could move on to the next thing. And I was thinking about my impatience. Come on, I need to get this done, I need to move on to the next thing. And then I realised that impatience itself is a challenge. Now, we all face different challenges every day, different situations, scenarios, people, and our patience is very much tested. So the funny thing about challenges is when a challenge arises, we tend to put fear first because that's what we're used to in the modern society. Anything that happens, we're either distracted or we face fear, so we distract ourselves in order not to overcome those challenges. So just thinking along those lines, patience came into my mind as one of the things that need to be addressed. I thought I had a lot of patience. Turns out I don't have much, not as much as I need. But patience is a funny thing. One of the codes of human behaviour, which is here itself, one of them says that thou should not be impatient. Where the codes come from, I'll show you here if you can see it. Can you see it there? Okay, they are the Great Book of Divine Ordinances, 77 Codes of Human Behaviour. Codes of Human Behaviour, my favourite title in the world. Codes for Human Behaviour. Where in the world can you go and find a code for how humans are supposed to be? I have one here. Code of Human Behaviour. Now, one of them says, thou shalt not be impatient. It seems easy, but it's a lot easier than it seems. Sorry, it's a lot harder than it seems. Patience is something that, until you have patience with yourself, you don't have patience with anybody. Patience you can feel being built up from the inside. And that's what happens when we have challenges. We don't seem to have the patience to wait and be taught by those challenges. Challenges are a funny thing. They grow your character. You challenge, that's what it does. It refines your personality. It refines who you are. Because a challenge doesn't come for challenge's sake. A challenge comes to work on the things that you're supposed to work on. Now, these codes of human behaviour, as I said, they are codes for how a human being can become a human. There's a big difference between a human being and a human. I'm not going to tell you that at the moment, I'll leave that for next time. So we are humans being whatever we are. We give ourselves labels, we give ourselves titles like I'm a professor, I'm a teacher, I'm a nurse. But who are we without those? Who are we without our exposures in this life? Who are we without our conditioning? Who are we without those values and opinions that have been imposed on us? Who are we? Now, part of that, part of working that out, is going through your challenges and overcoming them. But with that takes a lot of patience. Patience with yourself. Patience to give yourself that headspace, to allow yourself to think. I've said before in one of my talks that in the West here, everything is emotive. Everything is based on emotion. Doesn't matter what you look at, whether it's YouTube or whether it's Netflix, or if it's the TV, or if it's TikTok or Instagram. Any one of those that has anything to do with media fixes on your emotions. so that you have an emotional reaction. Now, if you have an emotional reaction to something, you are displaying impatience. Because when you are in an emotional state, you haven't given your space or the time to think things through. That's where your patience comes in. Patience takes a lot of thinking. It takes a lot of time to master. I'm one of them. And I'm sure a lot of you who are listening to this are too. So whenever you find yourself in a situation, whether it be people, circumstances, things, give yourself the space to think. Let that patience grow within you. Let that patience be the thing that leads you rather than rushing into an emotional reaction. One of the other 77 codes of human behaviour is thou shalt not misjudge or judge hastily. We do that a lot. We judge people based on our own values and opinions. But you really have to ask yourself, where do those values come from? Where does my opinion come from? Where's the root of those values and opinions that I base my life upon? Give yourself the space